Oh, oops. My bad. What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And I hope you like this video. This is Games People Play, Season 2, Episode 1, down to the BET. So last season, we thought we had solved the crime, honey. We thought we knew who had killed Glenda. It was Vanessa. I mean, it was Vanessa Simmons. That's her, Jackie. Down to her house. She done pushed the girl down the steps and her husband got rid of the body, right? That's what we thought had happened. But at the beginning of the episode, we see them flash back to 3 months earlier, and we see that the husband took the body away, but the girl won't dead. Okay, I guess they did not check her pulse. They just assumed she had broke her neck and was moving forward. But the girl pops up while he's trying to drive her. I guess he was gonna ditch her in the woods. She pops up. They end up calling Marcus, and Marcus is like, "Listen, go with I forgot the man name. What the husband name? I don't know. But go with him down. Go with him down to the hospital. I mean, down to the hotel, and I'll be there to check on you soon." And she was like, "Okay, Marcus, whatever you say, Marcus. Okay, okay." And I was like, "Oh, well, there we go." Which doesn't make sense anyway. But because if you go back to last season, they know that this all happened before. I mean, her falling down them steps happened before they knew she was at the hotel with Marcus when Vanessa had came in and beat the girl up. But okay, whatever. We gonna just work with it. We gonna work with it, okay? So we see that Marcus and Vanessa have moved into a new home. They're starting over and fresh, and she is pregnant. But she is in the kitchen with Mia, her best friend, and Mia's boyfriend is outside talking to Marcus, talking about how much he loved Mia and how Mia is the one, and he's ready to settle down with her. Now they inside, the ladies are inside, and Vanessa confesses to Mia, "Listen, I mean, Marcus happy that we having a baby and all, but it ain't Marcus's. Like, when I do the math and I add, subtract, and carry the one, when I conceived this baby is when I was messing around with old boy from law school, you know, white boy, and not Marcus." Now, if Marcus had done the math, I guess he would have figured out the same. But we know that sometimes men don't pay attention to to all of the math that, women do, especially when they want it to be the right answer, right? And so she was like, "Girl, so what you gonna do? Like, for real, both y'all light skinned, the baby probably gonna come out, the complexion gonna be right." And she was like, "Girl, stop playing." She was like, I wasn't playing. So she was like, "I don't know what I'm gonna do, because I know when I tell Marcus, it is not gonna be pretty. Because we know what's good for the goose ain't always good for the gander. Y'all are in this mess because Marcus had a whole affair on you, but you sleep with somebody and just happen to get pregnant, and I guess it's a whole situation." Okay. Now, we see two Latino women walking down the street, and ICE rolls up on one of the Latino women and takes her in. And as she's being arrested, she's like, "Well, what if I have, you can't send me back, you can't send me back." She said, "Well, what if I have information about a murder? What if I have information about a murder?" And the ICE officers was like, "We don't care if where Jimmy Hoffa is buried, you getting up out of the country." But come to find out, she is the maid down to the King house. I think Brittany is her name. We're gonna just say her name. What's her name? I wrote names down, y'all. I wrote names down. So y'all know how I am about the names. But I think her name, we just gonna say Brittany. Okay. Um, and she lets them know that, "Listen, I was working for the Kings, and I have information on that Glenda murder. Y'all think y'all got it solved, but y'all ain't got all of the pieces." And we get a flashback scene where we see her talking to Marcus King one morning, probably the day after Glenda came up missing. And come to find out that she helped them do work on that their car was damaged as if they had hit something. And she got her cousin to hook them up and get the car fixed off the books. But she told her cousin, "Hold on to that bumper because something ain't clean in the milk with this one. So hold on to all of that. Just put it to the side just in case we need it. Keep it as a little ace in the hole for us." Which is what he did, and it came in handy because ICE sent her over to LAPD, and LAPD is eating it up, and they're like, "Hold up, we might have some new information on this murder." Now, down to the hospital, Kareem, aka Jackie Long, he thought he had left Coach Jamal dead down to the car last season and stole the $50,000 or the $250,000 it took that he was using to extort them. His mama calls him and says, listen, get down to the hospital, but won't tell him why. And I was like, yeah, because Coach ain't dead. You thought Coach was dead. You thought you left him, you thought you left him there high and dry, but baby, he ain't dead. Okay. And that's exactly what it was. He get down to the hospital and he see that Coach ain't dead, and Coach was like, oh, I bet you thought you made out with my money. I thought you thought that I was dead, but I'm not. I'm here. And he was like, and then he sees his mama, and he was like, Mama, what's going on? Like, why are you here? What is going on here? And they decided now is the time to let him know that Coach is his daddy. She said, listen, okay, you was, before you were born, me and Coach, me and Jamal, he was a good man. But, I was married, and I thought it would be best for you to think that my ex-husband was your daddy. He was dead. It was a whole lot to explain at the time, but we just thought that it would be best to keep it that way. He wanted to be a part of your life. I said he can't, I'm not going to tell him that you his daddy, but if you want to coach him, you coach him, but that's the only capacity. Then he got you caught up in that whole point shaving stuff, and I was like, see, I knew I didn't want you around my son to begin with. She said, but he wasn't always like that. Like, at one point in time, he was a good man. But then he got arrested on some charges, some stuff he didn't do. And I tried to get him out of it. I was his alibi, but nobody would listen to me. Nobody believed me. And by the time he got out of jail, he was just a different person. And I was like, wait a minute. There's so much in that story. So you was married. You was married when you had an affair with Jamal. So did your husband die and you just let everybody think that Kareem, the man that you was married to, was his daddy, and y'all just let that go? But at one point in time, Jamal was a good man, and when he got arrested for something he didn't do, you went to the police and told the police he was with you, and you was his alibi, even though you was married to another man. But by the time he got out of jail, he had changed. And he the reason why your son did not get a chance to play in the NFL, in the NBA, because of some point shaving scandal he got him involved in. But you still sitting here caping for him. I just want to make sure I understand. I just want to make sure that I understand what that whole story was. Okay. All right. Okay. Then we have Layla. Y'all remember Layla, okay? Layla, which I still don't remember the whole situation with Layla last season, okay? Layla is, bronze goddess. Now, she is out front of the coffee store trying to get people to get the free samples of the gelatos. And this, LA, big, LA manager comes along, and he's like, you know what, you've got the look we've been looking for. You would be great in Hollywood. Here's my number. Here's my name. Give me a call. Let's have a meeting. They end up having a meeting. He takes her to this, nice restaurant where, of course, all of these celebrities are walking in and out that happen to know him. And she was like, oh my gosh, you know him? You know him? You know him? Oh my gosh, these are all my idols. These are awesome, great people. I can't believe you know all of these people. He was like, yes, I told you, And he, of course, when he said who he was, she knew him. Oh my gosh, I know you. You like represent everybody. He was like, yes, I do. And he was like, listen, I would love for you, I see talent in you. I see something in you. You're beautiful. I think you could do this and I think you could do that. And she said, well, listen, I ain't, right now my priorities are, I don't live in the best neighborhood. I don't feel so safe because, the dude came sneaking in her damn house, at the end of last season, scared her to death. She said, I don't feel so safe where I live right now, so I hear what you're saying, and I think that'll be a great thing for me in the future, but for right now, I really need to focus on finding some place to live. And he was like, oh, well, have you ever heard of the da-da-da-da-da? And she was like, yeah, that's like one of the nicest, apartment complexes in LA. He was like, yeah, we keep a couple of extra rooms there, for our people, when they're in between places. So I think we have somewhere. I'll set up an appointment for you to go down there and check it out. So of course she goes down there. It's a beautiful, 2-story apartment with, it's a beautiful place, right? And, the woman that's showing her around is like, oh, Don't worry about it. You've already been pre-approved. Don't worry about it. Everything has been covered, you know. And she was like, but why is everybody doing all of this for me? And she said, listen, a lot of times we like to get in on the ground level. It looks good for us that you know, you're an up and coming celebrity and you live here, you know, this is your address. That makes us look good. So we're down for it. We cool with it. Like, it's all about everybody, you know, I shake your hand, you shake mine kind of thing. Now, from where I sit, this is all way too convenient and way too easy and way too, I don't know. It just don't, something ain't right. Something ain't right with this situation. It was way too easy. I don't know. Now, back down to the King's house. Marcus comes rolling through there. Kareem comes rolling through there. Marcus is frustrated. He's upset. You know, he can't find nothing. He mad that they had to move. And he basically gets, you know, Kareem to, you know, become his errand boy. Now, I remember last season they fell out. I didn't even know they had made up yet. But clearly they made up enough that Kareem is up in the house. And Marcus is, you know, asking him to go pick up a new brush for him and get something to clean the walls. Like, you know. And I'm sure that scene was there just for us to see that they're back in that rhythm of, you my errand boy. You know what I'm saying? You're not really my friend. You my errand, you know, my assistant kind of situation. So then we see Miss Jackie, aka Vanessa Simmons, honey, and she is in jail. She's been in jail for the last 3 months. And, you know, her lawyer is like, listen, some new evidence has come up and we might be able to get you out. And she was like, what? He said, yeah. He was like, just chill out for a minute. You know, she said, yeah, get me out of here. Because she was playing all hard at first. But then when he started talking about getting her out of there, she was like, yeah, get me out of here. Okay, get me up out of here. He was like, don't worry. We got, you know, the DA, something about a car accident or something. I think we're going to get enough evidence to get you out of here. Okay, so she was all here for it, right? Now, down to Mia and the boyfriend. Who's the boyfriend name, child? I got to write down the boyfriend name. I did write Eric. Mia and Eric back down to their apartment. Mia gets a package that has a gag ball in it and a whip, you know, a little cat o' nine tails. Don't ask me how I know the proper names for these things. Just go with the story. And she thinks that Eric sent for it, and so she proceeds to use it. They have this great, you know, sex session, and, you know, Eric is down for it. They had a great time. And in the afterglow, they get to talking, and she was like, oh, my goodness, this was such a great, you know, present that you sent me. Eric was like, I ain't sent this. You don't know who sent this? He was like, this could have been contaminated. It could have been anything. Like, what are you talking about? And so she tried to play it off and was like, I was just playing with you. I sent it. I just wanted to see what you were going to say. But later on, we see her talking to Kendall. And she was like, listen, I think it might be Jebediah. You know, that pastor that they did the expose on last season. She said, because he did threaten to get me. And this is, you know, he's into the whole S&M kink thing. Like, that's what we posted onto the website last year. And so now she thinks that the pastor is looking for her and that he sent the whole gift, you know, the little sex toy gift situation. Now, Dante, who is Jackie's husband, goes to visit Marcus and says, listen, the lawyer called. They about to get my wife out of jail. They said they got some new evidence, something about a car accident, you know. Now, listen, I know that when I dropped Glenda off to the hotel, she was alive. You said the last time you saw Glenda, she was alive. But somewhere along the line, Glenda died. And Marcus was like, so what you trying to say? He was like, all I'm saying is the only one of us that ain't cleared is your wife. And Marcus was like, see, don't come through here with that. Like, don't disrespect my wife like that. He was like, I ain't trying to be disrespectful. I'm just trying to figure out what happened to the wife. Like, who killed her? I mean, what happened to Glenda? And if it's your wife, I'm just saying. And Marcus is like, yo, man, you need to get up out my house. But Marcus immediately goes in there and tells Vanessa, listen, girl, they got some new evidence, okay? And I don't know the who, the what, the when, the where, and the how, but they got some new evidence, and it might be a situationship where they know. Because remember, I told you we saw the whole flashback, so we know that the whole, you know, car accident situation. So Vanessa, Vanessa. Vanessa then proceeds to let him know that she's pregnant and the baby ain't his. So now he's like, wait a minute, what? She said, listen, while you was out, while me and you was separated because you had been out with your hoe, I had a weak moment, but you know what? I got pregnant and I'm not sure, I don't think you the daddy. She said, if the situation will reverse, I would suck it up and I would make it happen. But I know you're not man enough to do that. So it is what it is. I'm going to get me and the baby and we're going to roll up out of here. He was like, the hell you are? He said, listen, my child ain't going nowhere. He said, you are literally about to be a fugitive from the police. You think that I'm going to let you be out there running from the police with my child? Nah. You do what you feel like you need to do. But my daughter stays here. Now, here's the thing. That conversation went on a lot longer with them going back and forth about who had the affair and whether he would be able to, stick with her and she would have stuck with him. But at the end of the day, we know that generally speaking, a man can't swallow it like a woman can, okay? A man can't eat it up and be like, damn, you messed up, but I'm going to forgive you, especially in that situation. If a man go out here and have a child outside of his marriage, there are a whole lot of women who suck it up. But we know that, generally speaking, a man can't return that favor. Anyway. Now, Marcus had to leave to go to practice. And Vanessa was like, well, we'll finish having this conversation when you get back from practice. I knew then. I said, she ain't going to be there when he get home. The way she said it let me know. She was too calm about it. I said, she ain't going to be there when you get home, bro. You better call off. You better be sick. You better tell him you got the Rona or something. Because she ain't going to be there when you get back. And she won't. Anyway, we get another flashback where we see Marcus go to the hotel to visit Glenda. And that's when Vanessa rolled in on him. And we saw that scene last year where she proceeded to whoop all their asses. And Glenda ran out in the lingerie. Well, then we see Vanessa, a scene we didn't see last season, where Vanessa was driving down the street. She was clearly upset. He was calling her on her phone, and she went to go answer the phone, but the phone fell on the floor. She leans over to pick up the phone, and that's when she ends up hitting Glenda. So now we know what happened to Glenda. Okay? I hope for real this time. That's all I'm saying. I hope for real. Then we see Kareem end up going home and proposing to his girlfriend, okay? He took some of the money that they got off of Coach, and he proceeded to propose to the girlfriend. Jackie ends up getting out of jail, so we know that the police, not only did the police confirm the evidence, but they believe the housekeeper's version of the story about what happened, because Jackie asked and got out of jail, honey. I said, oh, it's about to be trouble. And that's pretty much, listen, my episode cut off, I think, a few seconds. BET sometimes, they be off, their time to be off, so it cut off a few seconds, but I feel like we got the gist of what happened. Y'all let me know what y'all think, though. Drop it in them comments. Peace.